Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey guys, welcome to the Streams of Income podcast. This is an amazing interview I was so lucky to get because, it's really awesome to interview up-and-coming entrepreneurs, people with new businesses, people that maybe don't even have a business. They just want to come on here and brainstorm some ideas. I love doing that, but I also love interviewing people that are at the top of their game, people that have been doing something for so long, or they're just so good at it that they're top of their game. Well, this interview with Sifu Alan Baker is one of those. He is top of his game in martial arts. And I just wanted to kind of preview this one because I did the interview with him at his house in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was during an instructor camp. I went to the instructor camp for the Civilian Tactical Association, and it was absolutely amazing. It was 4 solid days. It actually lasted longer, but I had to leave early. But I endured 4 solid days of getting my butt kicked and learning how to kick some butt. The thing about those kind of classes is if you're not getting beat up a little bit, if you're not getting thrown to the mat, getting choked out, getting stabbed with a rubber knife, whatever, a little bit, then you're not trying hard enough. Because the thing is, if you're only ever going to classes and practicing martial arts and everything like that, where you're the top dog, you're never going to learn anything. And so I absolutely love going to events like this where I am the newbie. I'm the guy that doesn't know the techniques, that hasn't practiced this stuff, that's learning new stuff, and I don't mind getting beat up. It's awesome. And so I just wanted to tell you, after 4 days of that, after that amazing interview with Sifu Baker, and being around him and his team and the team of instructors that he certifies for the Civilian Tactical Association, absolutely amazing. So I just wanted to give my kudos to this before you see him in just a minute and the podcast in his house. I highly recommend the Atlanta Martial Arts Center. If you're anywhere near Atlanta, it's in Woodstock, Georgia. An amazing place to learn several different styles of martial arts. If you're interested in being an instructor and adding civilian tactical, which goes way beyond martial arts. I mean, we studied tactical medicine. We studied like combat jujitsu, where we were actually doing jujitsu moves, anti-grappling, things like that, while wearing weapons. And so the goal wasn't just to submit or keep from getting submitted. The goal was also to keep hold of your weapon so the other guy doesn't take it. And so amazing stuff. Get in touch with them. As always, there'll be links in the show notes and all that. And so here we go. Sifu Alan Baker live in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Streams of Income podcast. I'm David Powers, here with my special guest, Sifu Alan Baker. And I'm going to let him explain what Sifu means, because I know most of y'all are not martial artists. You may not have any clue what that means, but we're going to talk to him about streams of income within the martial arts self-defense industry, and he's done some amazing things. I'm all hot and sweaty and everything right now. I just spent 8 hours already today, and 3 more days with him. I'll be spending just getting beat up on the mat, drawing weapons, choked out. I don't know what's going to happen, and so wanted to get a chance to talk to him before I was too wore out. So go and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Sifu Alan Baker. I am a lifetime martial artist. I've been training in the arts for 44 years. In that time, I've probably gone to an advanced standing in over 25 different martial arts. That's a fancy way of saying I've been a martial arts bum my entire life. And I was very fortunate to make a business out of it. So
that's pretty amazing. And I was looking at a list. It was a promo that came out from one of your books the other day on your email, and it mentioned all the different black belts you've got. And I don't know, I was thinking like a Renaissance man of the martial arts. It's like you see a style that has something different, you want to learn it. Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah, I've always been a perpetual white belt. I love the arts. I love new knowledge. And I spend a lot of time researching, finding new things. And if I find something and I have an interest in it, and I feel that it's going to educate me, I will go get it, pretty much regardless of where it is in the world.
And I mean, from what I've seen, you've trained with some pretty amazing people. I mean, you've referenced Dan Inosanto, and wasn't he associated with Bruce Lee?
Yes, he was Bruce Lee's protege.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. As far as the business side of things, since mostly here I like to focus on the income side of things and how people make a business. The typical martial arts model I've seen pushed is either one of two things. It's either a guy that trains a bunch of sweaty dudes in a gym with no air conditioning and he makes no money, and it's at night and it's dark and dingy, or it's pushed like kids. It's almost like a daycare. And you've done something completely different and mixed and merged the best of all these worlds. How do you do that?
Oh, well, due to my background, we actually draw a lot more adults at the academy here locally than kids, which is kind of opposite of what's normal. It's usually easier to make money on kids than it is adults. But due to the unique things we teach in our background, we actually draw those guys in, and we do both. But I really enjoy teaching the adults just because you can go a little deeper with the information, and I enjoy helping people and changing lives. Well, really at all ages, but I've always been focused more on teaching the adults and bringing them up.
Okay. And as I can attest with the adults, also, you can go a little rougher, just from my experience today.
Yeah, well, it depends too on perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're a little farther along the journey, so that slows us down a little bit.
Yeah.
Injuries and mileage.
One of the first things he did in class today was tell us, before we start working with a partner, ask about injuries. And the guy I was working with had a bad knee, he's getting ready to have a total knee replacement.
Yeah.
And so there were a few things that we had to do much slower or skip a little bit or modify. But it's a good approach. Now, I'm here for the Civilian Tactical Association Instructor Camp. Can you tell us a little bit about that, the Civ Tech Association?
Well, one of the businesses I started probably about 17 years ago was called Baker Defensive Tactics. And one of the things it does is it designs programs for clients around their environments. So like law enforcement, we would go in and we build it around what they have to wear, the laws they have to follow. We did a lot of work in the protection industry, protection agents, bodyguards, military. And a lot of these programs were teaching interagency. So we didn't teach a lot on the civilian level, but I was getting a lot of requests for that information. And so due to the demand for it, we started to put together a program that was more on the civilian level, but answered those things that a lot of martial arts sometimes miss, dealing with things on the legal side, how it looks visually, because we're a visual world now. Everything's getting recorded and thrown up on Instagram. So that can be used against you possibly. So we have to take that into consideration. And the accumulation of that curriculum became civilian tactical, which we abbreviate and call CTAC. And we ended up putting an association together because we had so much interest in individuals wanting to become instructors and teach the material at their academy. Some guys are running private lesson programs, or they're teaching training groups. There's many ways that you could monetize the concept. But that's how it came into being.
Okay. And that's what I find really interesting is you've created something that helps, it monetizes you and your skill and your expertise, but you're also teaching other adult martial artists how to monetize themselves.
Correct.
I mean, it's not just the working with weapons, the grappling, all that. You're actually teaching us how to handle students, how to do drills, how to keep the paying customers happy. I mean,
that's right.
So many things that go into this, and like this weekend that I'm here, it's not just a bunch of fighting. It's like a business school for martial artists almost. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, we actually have a business plan that comes along with it. Of course, it can be adjusted to someone's culture because it varies across academies and individuals, and we'll probably touch base on a little bit of that. Because business is business. Regardless of what you're in, if you have a good understanding of the fundamentals, create something. And that's, as an entrepreneur, that's an important thing, is having that finance support system. It creates freedom for us if we do it correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before I forget, what's the best way to get in touch with you if people want to find out more?
Probably my main website, which is sifualanbaker.com, sifualanbaker.com.
So be sure to get in touch with him if you're interested. And not only that, I mean, we're working out at the Atlanta Martial Arts Academy, and a really nice facility. And it's got the nice soft mats when I get thrown on the ground, that kind of thing. And what kind of stuff do you, if people are in town, I know you do regular classes, you also do a lot of seminars at the academy as well.
We have the academy here in Woodstock, and I have a staff that works for me, and they pretty much run the academy now. And that happened due to my travel schedule. Pretty much every weekend I'm somewhere in the U.S. teaching. I get to be at home this week because we have an at-home camp. But the schedule's been pretty crazy lately. We're already booking into 2025 too, so next year's going to be an adventure.
That's a good problem to have, but it does keep you busy. And as we speak, there's a trainer at the academy doing a jiu-jitsu class.
Correct. Yeah, the guys, they run class through the week, whether I'm here or not. Tonight, I think they have some kickboxing and some Brazilian jiu-jitsu going on. Yeah,
so an important lesson to learn for business. Always find good people under you that can, or not under you, that's a bad way to think about it, but just an excellent team that can manage things when you're gone, and you don't have to worry about quality or anybody getting hurt or anything like that.
Yeah, the key word is team. In my experience is you can hire employees or you can build a team. And one of the things about a team is they are introduced to an environment of growth themselves. As entrepreneurs, sometimes we'll go out and we'll build multiple revenue streams of businesses. And then when I bring the team in, one of the things I'll tell them is you will get introduced to these ideas and the methodology so you too can create. And so a lot of my guys that's been with me for a while, they have also built revenue streams and businesses. And a lot of times it's related to the same industry. So we kind of end up, the rising tide. We end up helping each other build businesses and growth, and you come up with a really good team that is capable of a lot of things and a lot of hustle.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And one of the guys that was teaching firearms tactics today was he said he was a competitive shooter.
Correct.
And hopefully eventually he'll be making some good money with that.
He's actually one of the staff who probably in the last 4 years has created a firearms education business. Has a very unique business model, approaches it in a really interesting way, and it's been growing really good for him. He kind of set it up and said, "This is going to be my retirement," but it's been nice to watch it kind of catch up to where he is. So he's kind of having to scratch his head and go, "Oh, am I going to keep doing this over here, or should I start doing that?" It's nice to see something grow and get to that point sooner than you expected.
Yeah, and he's an excellent instructor. I mean, all my time in the military, I don't think I learned as much about pistol handling as I did today from him. And
yes, he's got a passion for it.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, and that's a powerful thing.
Yeah,
both in teaching and in business.
And he's got a good presence too. I mean, he was, guys, we all, testosterone driven. We all want to be the alpha male, but he was confident without being overbearing. And I mean, you put a good team under you there from what I've seen.
Well, he gets a chance to exercise his teaching methodology often.
Yeah. Use him as much as you can before he retires.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll tell you what, let's do a quick rundown of all the different streams of income that you can think of. I know you've written books.
Yes.
You've got a podcast. You have the Martial Arts Academy, which a lot of times may be taught by others. And so you can do some other things. So what else do you have going on that you could consider different streams that you've done in the past or still doing?
Well, we mentioned earlier the tactical training business. It keeps me pretty busy throughout the year. I do a lot of work with law enforcement, military, the bodyguard industry. It can come in and teach pre-made programs, so to speak, or program design, which is the niche that we feel. Sometimes a program doesn't fit what a client needs. So we'll come in and look at where the client lives, where they work, how do they operate on a daily basis, what do they wear, what do they drive, and we will build that program specifically around their environment. So that would be one. Another one is a association development, design, and operation business.
Okay.
So one of the things we'll do is we come in for professional martial artists, and we will build the business for them, their association. Mm-hmm. And then if they, depending on the level of involvement, we may end up running it for them in the background. So a lot of the big name martial artists out there, I might be behind the scenes running things, working on the website, setting up their camps and that sort of thing. And we actually work with quite a few recognizable individuals right now in that industry. Also doing some speaking and coaching. I have a program called the Warrior's Path, it's a self-leadership program. And it's based on a lot of the things I use myself to do the things I've done through life. And that's been growing. So we've been doing more speaking on it, coaching. We decided to have our first live event next year.
Yeah.
So we're just now starting to plan that and put that together.
Is that going to be here in Atlanta?
We've got a couple of ideas, but we're looking at around the Chattanooga area.
Okay.
Because I on the side, I teach a lot of rappelling. I'm a rappel master instructor, a diving instructor. I teach mountaineering, survival, and a firearms instructor. So we are looking for an area that we can go do some of that cool stuff as well. Yeah. We do a little rappelling. We might do a little orienteering, a little mountaineering, and then in between those types of things, we are going to be talking about self-leadership and taking control of your life and steadying the ship, getting your bearing, and achieving the things you want to achieve.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And you've actually, I know you teach it, so obviously you've done it, but as far as protecting others, the bodyguarding thing, you've done that with some pretty famous people, I assume.
Yeah, they're pretty recognizable people. Mostly, I would say, television personalities.
Because Atlanta's like the Hollywood of the East now.
Yeah, zombie killers and superheroes. Sometimes I'm the guy standing in the background. I don't do a lot of it. You would call me a protection tourist. Due to my connection to the industry, I get to pick and choose who I work for and the where I'll be working. And due to what I teach for bodyguarding, I like working a lot of Comic-Cons for recognizable individuals. And one of the reasons is because you will literally get to put your hands on hundreds of people. And and you're guiding them, moving them, and really controlling at a low level, and they may never know it. So that's I enjoy doing that because it educates me, makes me better.
Oh yeah, and I've been here to Dragon Con in Atlanta before, and it's pure chaos.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and I can see how some of those lessons is coming out of the training this week. A lot of what you taught us just today was helping guide someone where you want them to go,
right? And
without it appearing like you're fighting or you're forcing anything,
right?
All of a sudden they want to go in that direction because you want them to.
Yeah, it's an interesting position working as a bodyguard because you could be completely in the right to put your hands on someone, but it not look correct, and it will embarrass your client, and you just lost your job.
Oh.
So sometimes you have to control the biggest fan, but do it with a big smile and very kindly. But you just have to limit their ability to do certain things that are related to the client. And if you can do that well and still keep a smile on your face and keep the client or the biggest fan happy, then you're doing a good day. Right?
Yeah. So it almost sounds like the bodyguarding job is more just reading people, knowing what to do than it is hands-on. It's not like the movies where you're constantly fighting and pulling out guns and.
Well, the small niche that I work in, it isn't.
Yeah.
I have been fortunate to do some of the corporate level stuff. It's a little more boring.
Yeah.
But it's a branch of it as well. And it doesn't look anything like what you see in the movies. You're suit and tie, standing in the back room waiting.
Yeah. Your job is to be invisible until you're needed.
Correct.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll close out with this. My final question I always like to ask everybody is, because we all get into so many streams. Like we just have this curiosity and this passion to keep trying things and just to see if it works sometimes.
Mhm.
If you had to dump all your streams and you could pick one, or you had to get rid of all those and you could move into a new one, what would be your dream stream of income that you would do for the rest of your life?
Oh, wow.
Like just one thing.
God, man, you're putting me in a corner.
For multipreneurs, it's like the impossible question.
I could choose something that I've done and created success with, but that would kind of go against some of my personal beliefs. So I'm going to choose something that I don't know how I would do. Because I would be leaping into the darkness again, which is a common choice entrepreneurs make, and it would be I would go into the speaking industry a little more. Yeah, I've stood in front of people and talked for years, but getting up on stage in front of 500 to 1,000 people lately has been interesting.
Yeah.
It's not easy for me. I'm having to work on it and work on my presentation skills. So I think I'd choose that just because of the challenge.
Yeah, I like that answer because of the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've done an amazing job speaking today in class, and because you just seem really comfortable. But you're totally in your element, and it's a small group where hands-on. It's a different ballgame when you're in front of 5,000 people.
Yeah, and you don't get to punch them.
If things go wrong, you can't run. And the tech might mess up. There's
sure. Anything that can will happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me come to your home and interview you, and I'm looking forward to the next few days.
All right.
And just remember, I'm going to promote you as much as I can. So maybe take it easy on me a little bit. I want to learn, but I want to be able to walk away from it when I'm done.
Well, if I do my job, you definitely will.
Yeah.
We're trying to educate. We're not trying to injure.
All right. Well, thank you with Sifu Alan Baker here in Woodstock in the Atlanta area in Georgia. And I hope you'll tune in for the next episode of Streams of Income. And man, I hope this one excites you, though, and makes you want to go learn some martial arts. If you're in the Atlanta area, you need to come check him out.
Yep, come see us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the after show snippets. Little extras, little things not related to the interview, not necessarily related to the person, but things that I want to get across, things people have asked me, whatever. It's an extra. It's a bonus for you. I hope you're still here, tuning in, ready to get some more. All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast again. One of those extra snippets I wanted to give you. And if you're watching the YouTube version, you'll notice a different background. Instead of sitting at my desk where I'm usually at, because you can still see Chucky over there, I'm over here at the stand-up desk. A huge monitor. Matter of fact, let me just huge monitor there. I didn't want you to see the screen too close to zero in on that. But you can also see more of my basement office. But it's not a dark, dingy basement. It's actually one where I can see out. And frequently get distracted by squirrels and things like that. And but it's nice having some sunlight coming in. So I wanted to talk to you about Tulsa King. Who in here, tell me in the comments, wherever, who watches Tulsa King? It's on Paramount Plus, stars Sylvester Stallone, one of my favorite shows. I really enjoy it. They're in their second season. And so it's, like I said, it's a great show if you like that kind of stuff. It's another Taylor Sheridan creation. Taylor is the guy that created the Yellowstone shows, Lioness, Sicario. He's an amazing writer, so it's part of the Sheridan verse, and so I really like it. But here's the experiment I wanted to do. I have a lot of investments on M1, and that's why I didn't want to show you the screen where I've got M1 pulled up, because I didn't want to have to go back and try to hide account numbers and all that kind of stuff. But you do a lot of investing on M1, and so I'll put the link in the show notes. I've got an affiliate account for that, and so that way, if you join M1 as well, invest some money, we'll both get some money back. So that's good for everybody. But I wanted to do an experiment. M1 has a great thing where you can set up these investment pies. And so I opened up a pie that I call the Tulsa King experiment. And so what I thought would be fun would be if I invested some money into each one of the industries that Sylvester Stallone's character invests in, steals from, robs, takes over, manhandles, whatever synonym you want to use for mafia type investing. He's basically doing that, and some of it is illegal on the show. Illegal money coming from this thing, whereas, like any good mobster or criminal, he has legitimate enterprises to funnel the money through. Just like on Breaking Bad, they had the car wash. And so I thought it would be fun to take each one of these industries. he's involved in on the show, set up a piece of the pie and invest in a company in that industry. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drop $100 in here. I'm going to let it split between each one of these industries. And so basically not enough money that I'm going to lose the house and all that kind of stuff by investing this way. And so I thought it'd be fun to do and just to see how it grows or drops. And so these are also companies that I might not otherwise invest in at all, except for this experiment. And so I'm going to tell you the companies I'm investing in. This is not investment advice. These are not at all heavily researched companies. I just typed in some things looking for some publicly traded companies that are in these industries. And so I'm just curious to see how it does. Wouldn't it be awesome, though, if I made a ton of money on what I consider the Tulsa King investment strategy? And so let me tell you these companies that I'm investing in. I'll give you some updates as time goes on. I literally just now sent my $100 over to this account. It's not even cleared yet. And so I'm not even actually making money. My 100 isn't fully invested yet. It should be by tomorrow. And so I will give you some updates, but let's go down the list. So one of the first companies he got involved with in Tulsa, Oklahoma was a cannabis dispensary. And so it's really cool, though, because he went into this thing and kind of just took it over, but he's making everybody more money. Of course, there's always the threat of death and everything from other mobsters hanging over, but he's making a lot more money, and he's actually got a new location, and they just got into drop shipping CBD and all kinds of neat stuff on the show. I hope I'm not, by the way, spoiler alert. You're probably going to hear some spoilers if you're not familiar with the show. Probably not so much that it would mess you up. Go watch the show if you haven't seen it yet. So I invested in a publicly traded cannabis company called, their marker is YOLO, YOLO. That's about perfect for a cannabis company. So Advisor Shares Pure Cannabis. That's the one I picked for a cannabis company. All right, so he also wormed his way into a bar that is on an Indian reservation. And because it's on an Indian reservation, what's the biggest moneymaker on Indian reservations? Many of you have probably been to one or driven by it or seen it on a show. I mean, basically, this industry is on every TV show or movie involving an Indian reservation. It's a casino. And so he wormed his way into the ownership of a bar that is on an Indian reservation and expanded into a small casino. And so I picked CNTY, Century Casinos Incorporated. And because of the bar, he owns the bar as well. I went ahead and just invested in Budweiser. That's BUD. And so Budweiser, I mean, it's a lot more than just beer and but so is a bar. And then also, one of the things he does, the guy that used to own the dispensary that now works for him, is kind of like his money guy, is big into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so I invested in BITB, which is the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. I didn't invest like HODL into regular Bitcoin because you can't do that in these pies on M1. So I just invested in a Bitcoin ETF, which I don't know. I'm hoping those go crazy anyway. All right, so he didn't so much invest in this next industry, but it's featured heavily on the show because of just he likes horses. He's grown to really like horses, and he's dating a lady who owns a horse ranch. And also, interesting enough, if you do watch the show, there is a young blonde lady who he met. She was a waitress at a coffee shop, and now he pays her to help take care of the horses. But that's actually his daughter in real life on the show. And so I thought that was pretty cool. But since he's sort of involved in horses and a horse ranch, I invested in CHDN, which is Churchill Downs Incorporated. And so big horse racing company there. And so recently, though, on season two new industries he's involved in on season 2 is an auto dealer and wind farms. And so for the autos, I just went super easy and invested in Ford Motor Company. That's an easy pick for me. I've been a Ford guy like forever, not strictly a Ford guy. I drive a Dodge truck now, but I just went ahead and picked Ford because Ford is also involved with Volvo, Land Rover, some other companies as well. And so also, then we get into the wind farms, which is a new industry on season 2, because he bought a wind farm. This is cool. One of the things I really like about the show, even though it's a lot of gangster stuff, it's a lot of illegal stuff, there's a lot of just bad stuff going down. I love how the business is done on the show. Not all of it, or most of it isn't illegal. and they go over a lot of business stuff. And so even the marijuana is legal there, the dispensaries, the growth of it. And so he bought a wind farm so that he could provide his own power to do aquaponics to grow marijuana. And so he's going to be expanding the marijuana farms immensely through aquaponics powered by his wind farm. And so I invested in TPIC, which is TPI Composites, and they actually I believe they make the blades. They actually make the blades on these huge wind farms that you see out west. I've seen some in the mountains of Pennsylvania. And so these huge wind farms, that company in real life makes the blades. And so that is my foray into the Tulsa King investment strategy. Like I said before, I'm not an investor. This is not investment advice. It's only something I'm doing as a fun play thing with play money. Like I said, only $100, but I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm going to have fun with this, and I'll keep you updated. And if you want more information, whatever, I'll throw some stuff in the show notes, or just get in touch. I love comments and emails and things like that. And so it lets me know people are listening and may or may not like what I'm doing. And so that is it for the Tulsa King investment strategy.